What most people pay attention to nowadays for hat collecting is what's on the right side of the hat. With all these flashy looking... You can see me, right? Billy, they can see me, right? Well, Billy, of course you're not... You can't see anything. You're looking at your goddamn phone. Anyways. Looking at all these hats here, you see all these different side patches. But today's video, I want to focus on the other side of the hat. The flag part. We're going to talk about today the debate and inject more of a conversation of the conversation debate tonal flag or color flag, or is there even an in-between? So, get out a notebook, pen, or pencil because class. I'm drumming the table here, like, you know, I'm starting the video, but I don't want to do it too much because then the whole thing's going to fall over because it did before. Class is in session. Let's go! So it wasn't until 1993 that New Era became the brand to make the hats that players wear on the field for MLB. New Era started in 1920. Their first stint contract, I guess, with MLB was 1934 with Cleveland Indians, but they didn't become the big namesake for MLB until 1993. And ever since then, the names of the jersey manufacturers have changed, but New Era has stayed the same. Now I have a hat from before 2017 when it was more official with an on-field hat. Did I call on you? Like this hat. Now this one is from 2017 era, and this one is from pre-2017. That's when, in full season effect, that the New Era flag was implemented on the side of the hat. Now, in cases, that's for on-field hats. For other hats in years past, for other leagues, it was a flag on there. If you look at this Atlanta Flames hat, it's tonal, but there's a flag on there. There's a flag. It's a hockey hat. It is there. That was for sure before I started collecting hats, and longer. I don't know when it really came out, but probably before 2010. Now, before there were no flags on the New Era on-field hats for the teams, if there was some specialty, like genuine, I guess, merchandise hats, then it was maybe on there. But if you look at hats before 2016, postseason, because that's when they started to implement the... It's not there. It's not... Oh, there it is. They started to implement the New Era flag on the 2016 postseason hats. And beforehand, all those side patches were on the left side where the flag is now. At this 2015 postseason Chicago Cubs hat. And I mean, this one is that liquid chrome, but you get the idea. It's on the side here where the flag is now. Now, especially actually if this is the World Series 2016 hat with the flag crappily stitched on the left side and the World Series patch on the right side of the hat. Now, for current teams, there are some times where the flag is, I got too many hats back here, is either white or it's team colored, like this Orioles hat, this home one, got the orange flag. Would white have made sense? I mean, white's pretty universal. There are no white hats out there for MLB. There's some maybe powder blue ones, but white would still show up in that. So it's good coloring. Would a red flag on here make sense? Not really. So it's just kind of, with different colors, you kind of have to match it certain ways. But primarily looking at these modern fashion hats, these are not on-field hats at all. But looking at these hats that want to have more of a coloristic appeal, the question is, should it be tonal, blending in with the color of the cap itself, or should it have a little bit of a color pop? Now, I think these are my stipulations. Now, in the case that the hat retailer, the designer, wants the hat to look more historically accurate to that era that the hat is supposed to represent with the side patch, that it looks like an on-field hat. I mean, it might have a colorful under brim, but if it's supposed to represent, what the Angels hat would have looked like for the All-Star game, or when the Braves won the World Series in '95 the first time, I can understand that having a tonal flag would make more sense, because they didn't have the flag at all back in those days. I mean, even as recent in 5 years, so 2017 is only about 5 years ago, so it feels a little bit more recent than it might be. So I can understand absolutely that these would be tonal flags, that I am quite sure that there is somewhere in the contract between New Era and MLB and whatever manufacturer designer takes upon it themselves to design themselves a hat to sell, that they have to have the flag somehow on the hat. Now, again, for historical purposes, totally get it. Some people then might be more inclined to be picky about the Batterman, to be flat or raised or more historically accurate, which I believe it should be flat. But then again, it's on the back of your head, so who the fuck cares if it's raised or flat? Besides, most of the hype collectors don't really pay attention to baseball, so why should they really matter about historical accuracy? I can also understand for more tonal fashion hats like these, Campfire and this Ocean Drive, because Hat Club and Lids have two different Ocean hats. These, if these had a color flag on the side, would it make it worse? No. Would it make it bad? Perhaps. I think that these hats having the tonal flag, especially kind of with the stone color here, it works really well, that it all blends in. It doesn't really need that extra blue pop. If it's there, I'm not gonna actually say it's terrible, but I think it would have made sense to have a tonal flag. But in cases where you're just trying to be silly, which is a good thing, trying to be silly with these different hat designs. Cotton Candy, Pink Lemonade. I know that there's Pink Martini, there's Iceberg, there's Green Eggs and Ham. There's a bunch of others I'm thinking, especially with the original run of Hat Club in 2020. Those pre-orders. Now these, for sure, would make sense to have a color flag on the side. Having pink to accent with the underbrim. Now, looking at like a on-field hat, the matching of the flag color makes sense to match with the brim of the hat more than to match the button, I would say. Because like the Cubs hat, it's a white flag, red button, but it's a all one color hat. But with like the Orioles hat, if it's a two-tone hat, then it can make sense. You have a little bit more leeway. But then thinking about like the Braves home hat that's navy and red, I don't know. I don't think a red flag on navy would work so well compared to just classic white. So a little bit more discrepancy with the on-field hats. But you look at a hat like this Orioles hat from Eblin's Oreo hat. This has a bright blue flag to match the bannerman on the back and to match the underbrim. This is good. This is good to have this kind of color. It's not taking away from the rest of the hat. That's why I like having a little color on some of these silly hat colors. Again, silly in a good way, that you're derivating from the original on-field look, but you're doing it in a tasteful manner. Now, looking at the rest of these hats here with all these side Now, looking at the rest of these hats here, because I can't remember what they all look like, with these, not the side patches, but with the tonal flags and the color flags, you know, there's sometimes where, you know, maybe on a pink martini, a pink flag would make sense. Maybe on a red hat, would a pink flag make sense? It would work. Kind of up to, I could go either way. Having a tonal versus color flag for a white, silver, / gray, or neutral color hat, I would more lean towards color flags. But you can kind of see that there's really not a whole lot of color with the flags, which is kind of a shame because it does add some accent. Not taking away from the whole hat look, not taking away from the side patch, or taking away from the underbrim. It's just that little pop of color there, just to add it on. Now, of course, having the flag there, when the flag was announced that it was going to be on the side of the hats, people were in uproar. Classic baseball collectors, hat collectors, and fans were kind of upset that you're adding something to the side of the hat that is just advertising, which that's what it's really all about. That's why they added the flag there, to get more name recognition. I mean, everyone knows an iPhone now, and even still to this day, when I sell a phone case at work, especially those out-of-box cases, and there are some other phone cases out there that might have like a shell or like a color around it that's not a clear case, it'll have like a little outline, a little circle cut out for the Apple logo, because I still want people to know that you have an Apple device. Just like how the Apple logo would glow on the older MacBook laptops. They don't anymore, which would be nice. But that's the idea of the flag. So it's kind of now become the normal thing to have the flag on the side. So I can understand for some fashion points to make it tonal or to make it historically accurate. But if you're going to have these kind of fun colors but not have some fun with the color in the flag, are you just trying to be like, well, I'm not going to conform, I'm not going to make a color flag, I'm going to have it hidden so no one knows that it's a New Era hat? Well, I don't think you're going to fool a whole lot of people. I mean, of course the hat collectors are going to know it, but it's become a standard now. So I'm going to say, for the most part, I really think that hat manufacturers, well, New Era, but hat retailer, the hat designers should be implementing more color into the side flags on the hats now. So I do also want to note that with other hat manufacturing brands, like 47 brand here, they have a different variety of their color logos on the side there. There's some that do have contrasting colors, and some that have white, and then you have some of these other New Era hats here that have contrasting colors, or maybe white, or maybe tonal. But there's a good mixture out there of plain white for the flag, the side logo, or I think that for the most part, a contrasting flag, especially if it's like a team basic hat, then that's when it'd be cool to have that color. You can see more examples here of the different New Era flag colors through the shoebox here, especially all those NFL hats on that one row. Even Adidas there has color in their side logo there. But I think that there should be some color for the most part. I would say about 85% of the time there should be some color in the flag. So let me know in the comments down below your thoughts of, is it okay to have a tonal flag all the time, or should there be more implementation of color? Is it okay to have a tonal flag for history hats or for more fashion-oriented hats? I mean, you can consider these hats also fashion hats, but would it be nice to have more color in these kind of fashion hats for the flags more often than not? I think so. I think it'd be a nice accent to really pop more colors into the hat. Not really over exaggerate and kind of desaturate the colors of the hats. As always, hats off to you for watching. Let me know in the comments down below also if you have any more heated debate topics I should talk about with hats. I kind of touched briefly on the flat Batterman versus raised Batterman. It doesn't fucking matter. It's on the back of your head. So, there, I just debunked it. I just discussed it. So there's 2 discussions in one video for you. But of course, any other hat debating topics, let me know in the comments down below. The #1 hat channel will always want to discuss what the classroom wants to discuss and learn about. Hats off to you as always for watching. I will see you next time in class, everyone. Class is dismissed. Bye, everyone. Hey, Billy? Billy? Yeah, can you clean up all these hats? Please? No? Damn it. Any volunteers?